Your car's engine is what keeps it alive and makes everything work together. Without a good engine, even the best-looking car won't run right or last long. That's why it's really helpful to know a bit more about the engines that power the cars we see and use every day, since some engines are built tough and last for years, while others look good at first but turn out to be costly problems waiting to happen. In this video, we'll talk about 23 car engines that have a reputation for being both a headache and a heartbreaker. These are the engines that can easily drain your wallet with expensive repairs and constant issues if you're not careful. So stay with us as we take a closer look at the engines that you might want to think twice about before getting. Let's get started. 1. Cadillac Northstar V8 engine. The Cadillac Northstar V8 is one of the most well-known engines from the 1990s and early 2000s. It was used in some of Cadillac's top luxury cars like the DeVille, Seville, Eldorado, STS, DTS, and even the sporty Cadillac XLR. Some other GM cars like the Oldsmobile Aurora and Buick Lucerne Super also had this engine. When it first came out, it was praised for giving Cadillac cars strong performance and smooth driving that could compete with expensive European brands like BMW or Mercedes. This engine was known for being powerful and advanced for its time because it could make around 275 to 320 horsepower, giving Cadillac cars a smooth ride. It used dual overhead cams and had an aluminum block, which made it lighter and more efficient. But while the Northstar started out strong, it later became known as one of the most expensive engines to maintain. Over time, it developed big issues, especially with head gaskets that would fail because of weak bolts in the aluminum engine block. Once that happened, the repairs could easily cost thousands of dollars. Even though it was powerful and refined, many owners found themselves spending more time and money on repairs than they expected. 2. Isuzu 3.0 V6D Max. The second engine on our list is the Isuzu 3.0 V6D Max engine. Now, Isuzu has always had a strong name when it comes to diesel engines, especially for pickup trucks and work vehicles. The 3.0 V6 engine in the D-Max was built to give more power and smoother driving while still being dependable for carrying heavy loads. It's found mostly in some versions of the Isuzu D-Max and other Isuzu pickups that are meant for tough work or long drives, especially in regions where diesel engines are more common. However, even with its strong performance, this engine earned a reputation for being a bit of a heartbreaker over time. One of the biggest issues owners face is with the fuel injectors and turbo system. These parts can wear out earlier than expected, especially when the engine isn't maintained regularly or if low-quality diesel is used. When this happens, it leads to rough idling, loss of power, and poor fuel economy, and fixing these problems can be very expensive. Another known problem is the carbon buildup inside the engine, which happens faster than usual in some units. This causes the engine to lose performance and can even lead to more serious internal damage. Once that happens, repairs can easily cost thousands of dollars, especially if the turbo or injectors need to be replaced. Some owners have also complained about overheating and oil leaks, which only add to the list of expensive problems. So while the Isuzu 3.0 V6D Max engine sounds like a dream for power and performance, it can quickly become a nightmare for your wallet if it's not properly taken care of. 3. Audi 2.5-liter V6 TDF engine, 1997 to 2005. The third engine on our list is the Audi 2.5-liter V6 TDI engine, used in several Audi models between 1997 and 2005, such as the Audi A4, A6, and A8. At the time, this diesel engine was seen as a strong performer because it is smooth, torquey, and efficient for its size. It gave drivers that classic Audi feel of solid acceleration and quiet highway cruising, while also being more fuel efficient than the larger gasoline engines. However, as the years went by, one of the biggest problems was the camshaft wear, which often showed up even before hitting 100,000 miles. Once the camshafts start wearing out, it affects how the valves open and close, leading to poor performance, rough idling, and sometimes total engine failure if not repaired quickly. When it comes to replacing worn camshafts and related parts, it can easily cost you over $3,000 to $5,000, especially with labor costs included, since it's not an easy repair. On top of that, this engine also had issues with timing belt failures, oil leaks, and injector pump problems, all of which could lead to serious damage. Because of how tightly packed this V6 engine is, even minor repairs require a lot of labor, meaning you'll pay more just to access the parts. In short, while the Audi 2.5-liter V6 TDI engine runs beautifully when everything's in perfect condition, keeping it that way is expensive and time-consuming. 4. BMW S65 V8 engine. The next engine on our list is the BMW S65 V8, which powered the BMW M3 from 2007 to 2013. That includes the E90 sedan, E92 coupe, and E93 convertible. This engine is a 4.0-liter naturally aspirated V8, which means it doesn't use a turbo or supercharger. It makes around 414 horsepower and can rev all the way up to 8,400 RPM, which is part of what made it so fun and exciting to drive. It also sounds incredible since many BMW fans still say the S65 has one of the best engine sounds ever made. On the good side, this engine is very powerful, smooth, and delivers instant response when you step on the gas. When it's properly maintained, it can last a long time and give an amazing driving experience. But the problem with this engine is how expensive it is to maintain and repair. One of the biggest issues is the rod bearings, which wear out faster than they should. When that happens, the engine can make knocking sounds and eventually fail completely. Replacing those bearings usually costs between $1,500 to $3,000, and if the damage spreads, it can cost even more. There are also other common issues like VANOS, valve timing system, failures, throttle actuator problems, and cooling system leaks. These repairs are not cheap either, and they tend to add up over time. So, while the BMW S65 V8 is an incredible engine to drive and a piece of engineering art, it also comes with a big price tag for upkeep. 5. 1.5-liter or 2.0-liter EcoBoost. Next on our list are the 1.5-liter and 2.0-liter EcoBoost engines from Ford. The EcoBoost series became famous because Ford designed them to give the same power as bigger engines while saving more fuel, thanks to turbocharging and direct fuel injection. This sounds like the perfect balance, having both strong performance and good gas mileage. When new, these engines perform really well. They offer smooth acceleration, good torque, and better fuel economy compared to older non-turbo engines. Drivers also appreciate how light and responsive they feel, especially for smaller cars. Ford marketed the EcoBoost as a smart, modern solution that is great for daily driving without wasting fuel. However, the downside is that these engines are known for several costly issues once they age. A common problem is the coolant leak in both the 1.5-liter and 2.0-liter versions, which can lead to engine overheating and even complete engine failure if not caught early. Many owners have reported that coolant leaks into the cylinders, causing misfires, rough idling, and loss of power. Fixing this problem can cost anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000, and in some cases, Ford even replaced entire engines under warranty. Another issue is carbon buildup on the intake valves because of the direct injection design. Over time, this buildup reduces performance and fuel efficiency, and cleaning it isn't cheap either, usually around $500 to $1,000. So while the EcoBoost engines were built with good intentions, they've turned out to be high maintenance and expensive to repair. 6. Nissan 1.5 or 1.8 QG, 1999 to 2006. Next on our list is the Nissan 1.5 or 1.8 QG engine, used mostly in cars from 1999 to 2006, like the Nissan Sentra, Almera, and Sunny. At first, this engine was seen as reliable and fuel-efficient, which is perfect for daily driving. It was simple, didn't burn too much gas, and worked fine for people who just wanted a car to get them from point A to point B. But as time went on, these QG engines started showing problems that made many owners frustrated. One of the most common issues is excessive oil consumption. Over time, the piston rings tend to wear out, causing the engine to burn oil faster than normal. You'd often see white or blue smoke from the exhaust, a clear sign that oil is getting into the combustion chamber. And once that starts, performance drops, the engine becomes noisier, and you have to keep refilling oil just to keep it running. Another big issue is with the timing chain tensioner and sensors, which can wear out early and cause rattling noises or engine misfiring. These issues often lead to expensive repairs if not fixed right away, sometimes reaching $1,000 to $2,500, depending on how serious the problem is. For older QG engines, that cost can even be more than the car's value itself, which is why many owners eventually give up on repairing them. Another thing is if you miss oil changes or use the wrong type of oil, the engine wears out much faster. The QG engine also isn't very forgiving when it comes to overheating. One bad overheat and you could easily end up with a blown head gasket or warped cylinder head. Those repairs aren't cheap and can cost several $100s. So while yes, they can still run fine if well maintained, but for many owners, keeping them alive ends up costing more than it's worth. 7. BMW N63 V8 engine, 2008 to 2012. Next on our list is the BMW N63 V8 engine, which was used in many high-end BMW models from 2008 to 2012, including the 7 Series, 5 Series, X5, and X6. When it first came out, this engine was praised for its strong power and smooth performance. It was BMW's first twin-turbocharged V8, designed to give drivers that mix of luxury and sportiness the brand is known for. But in real life, this engine turned out to be one of BMW's biggest headaches. The N63 V8 is known for burning a large amount of oil, so much that BMW even launched a customer care package to help owners deal with the constant oil refills. Many owners reported needing to top up oil every 500 to 1,000 miles, which is not normal for a modern engine. The reason behind this is poor heat management and design flaws that caused seals, gaskets, and valve stems to wear out faster than usual. The problems didn't stop there. The turbochargers placed inside the V of the engine, known as a hot V setup, tend to overheat, damaging nearby components like ignition coils and injectors. There were also issues with timing chain stretching, carbon buildup, and battery drain due to the engine's high power demands. Repairs for these problems can easily reach $5,000 to $10,000, and in some cases even more if multiple parts fail at once. 8. Toyota 4 GR-FSEV 6 engine. Number 8 on our list is the Toyota 4 GR-FSEV 6 engine, a 2.5-liter engine that powered cars like the Lexus IS 250, Toyota Crown, and Mark X. Toyota designed this with direct fuel injection and variable valve timing, giving it quick response and steady power, qualities that matched Toyota's image of comfort and reliability. At first, the 4 GR-FSE seemed like another dependable Toyota engine, but time proved otherwise for many owners. One of the most common issues is carbon buildup on the intake valves. Because it's a direct injection engine, fuel doesn't clean the valves like it does in regular engines. Over time, this leads to dirt and soot sticking inside, which causes rough idling, reduced power, and even knocking sounds. Fixing this problem isn't simple or cheap, since it often requires professional cleaning and sometimes opening up engine parts. Aside from that, the 4 GR-FSE also has reports of oil leaks and high oil consumption, mostly due to problems with the timing chain tensioner and gaskets. These leaks can be hard to spot at first, but become expensive when left unattended. So, if you own one or plan to buy a car with this engine, keeping up with maintenance is what you need to keep in mind. 9. Skoda 1.2 HTP, 2022 to 2007. Number 9 on our list is the Skoda 1.2 HTP engine, which was used in several small cars under the Volkswagen Group, including the Skoda Fabia, Volkswagen Polo, and Seat Ibiza. This 1.2-liter three-cylinder engine sounded like the perfect match for budget-friendly and city driving cars because it is small, light, and fuel-efficient. It was designed to be simple and economical, giving good mileage for daily commutes and low running costs, which attracted many first-time car buyers in Europe. However, Skoda 1.2 HTP's biggest issue was with the timing chain. Instead of a belt, this engine used a chain that was supposed to last the car's lifetime, but in reality, it stretched and failed far too early. When the timing chain jumps or breaks, it can cause serious engine damage, which sometimes even requires a full engine replacement. The problem was made worse by weak tensioners and poor lubrication, especially for owners who skipped oil changes or used the wrong oil. So while the Skoda 1.2 HTP was meant to be a low-cost, low-maintenance engine, it turned out to be the opposite for many people. Basically, this is a reminder for everyone that not all small engines are cheap to maintain, because sometimes the money you save on fuel can end up being spent on expensive repairs instead. 10. 3.6-liter Pentastar 5.6 engine. Number 10 on our list is one of Chrysler's most well-known engines that when it was first released in 2011, it was praised for being a big improvement over Chrysler's older engines. It offered a smooth balance of power, efficiency, and modern design, producing around 280 to 305 horsepower, which was quite impressive for a naturally aspirated V6 at the time. It also used lighter materials and better technology, like variable valve timing, to help with fuel economy and performance. However, while the Pentastar 5.6 had a strong start, it didn't take long before some serious problems showed up. One of the biggest issues involved the cylinder head failure on the left bank of the engine, mainly in models made between 2011 and 2013. Chrysler later admitted the problem was due to valve seat wear and offered an extended warranty for affected vehicles. To be fair, newer versions of the Pentastar engine after 2016 fixed most of these early issues and became much more reliable. So, while the 3.6-liter Pentastar 5.6 can run strong when maintained right, those first few years of production definitely earned it a spot on our list. 11. Saab 2.0, 2.3 Turbo, 1990 to 2010. Number 11 on our list is the Saab 2.0 to 2.3 Turbo engine, which is used in many of the brand's well-known models, like the Saab 9.3, 939-5, and the earlier 900 series between 1990 and 2010. It delivered strong performance for its size with smooth acceleration, great mid-range torque, and impressive highway power. It also had a reputation for lasting well past 200,000 miles if maintained correctly. But the Saab 2.0 to 2.3 Turbo demanded consistent care, and skipping even one oil change could cause serious trouble. One of its most infamous issues was oil sludge buildup, especially in the early 2000 models. This happened when heat from the turbo and poor oil circulation caused thick sludge to form, blocking oil passages and starving the engine of lubrication. Once that happened, it was only a matter of time before the turbocharger or even the entire engine failed. So while the Saab 2.0 to 2.3 turbo engine represents a golden era of Swedish innovation and turbo power, it also reminds us that performance means nothing without proper upkeep. 12. Toyota 2.2 DCAT. Number 12 is the Toyota 2.2 DCAT engine, which was used in several popular Toyota models like the Avensis, RAV4, and Auris during the mid-2000s to early 2000s. This 2.2-liter diesel engine looked like a solid choice because of strong torque, smooth power delivery, and excellent fuel economy. It also featured Toyota's advanced DCAT, Diesel Clean Advanced Technology System, which was designed to lower emissions by reducing nitrogen oxide and soot output. But as time went on, this engine started to earn a reputation for being expensive to maintain and difficult to repair. One major issue was with the head gasket, which often failed earlier than expected. When that happened, coolant would leak into the engine, leading to overheating and possible engine damage. The EGR valve, exhaust gas recirculation, also had a tendency to clog up with soot, which caused performance loss and higher fuel consumption. The system worked great when everything was in perfect condition, but even one small issue could trigger a chain of expensive repairs. So yes, it offered great performance and eco-friendly goals, but in real life, the maintenance demands turned it into a financial headache for many owners. 13. BMW N47 Diesel Engine, 2007 to 2012. Next up is the BMW N47 Diesel Engine, 2007 to 2012. It promised that solid BMW performance with the benefit of saving fuel, which sounded perfect for daily driving. But over time, this engine became a headache, mainly because of a problem that most owners didn't expect, which is the timing chain. The timing chain on the N47 was placed at the back of the engine, right next to the transmission. That design choice made it really hard to reach and very expensive to repair. The problem is that the chain tends to stretch or wear out too early, and when it does, it starts making a rattling noise, especially when starting the car. If it's not fixed quickly, it can snap completely, which causes major engine damage since the pistons and valves crash into each other. Repairing or replacing the chain can easily cost $2,000 to $4,000, and if the chain breaks, the engine might be completely ruined. So, the BMW N47 runs great when new, but keeping it reliable long-term can be tough. Many car owners now say this engine taught them that not every efficient diesel is worth the trouble in the long run. 14. Renault 2.2 DCI, 1999 to 2009. The Renault 2.2 DCI engine, 1999 to 2009, also gained a bad reputation, mainly because of its serious reliability issues, especially with the turbocharger and injectors. Many owners started noticing problems just a few years into ownership that the engine would lose power, produce smoke, or even cut off unexpectedly while driving. The root of the problem came from oil starvation and poor lubrication design, which caused the turbo to fail early. Once the turbo started breaking down, small metal pieces could spread through the oil system, damaging other parts of the engine. The frustrating part was that even after repairs, the same issues could come back because the engine design itself had weak points. Aside from turbo failures, it was also known for EGR valve clogging, leaky injectors, and head gasket failures, all of which could lead to expensive repair bills. Fixing a failed turbo alone could cost around $1,000 to $2,500, and a full engine rebuild could go much higher. But to be fair, when it was working properly, the 2.2 DCI engine offered smooth performance and good torque, which made it nice for highway driving. However, the high repair frequency and unpredictable breakdowns made it hard to trust. 15. Chevrolet 2.2-liter OHV inline-4 engine. The Chevrolet 2.2-liter OHV inline-4 engine is also often turned into a constant source of problems for many owners. The most common issue was head gasket failure, which led to coolant leaks, engine overheating, and poor performance. Once the gasket blew, coolant would mix with oil, causing internal damage that could cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars to fix. So while it was cheap to build and easy to find parts for, its design didn't age well. It struggled with rough idling, low power output, and poor fuel efficiency, especially compared to newer engines. On top of that, the pushrod, OHV setup, made it outdated and less durable at higher mileages. Some owners even reported that the engine would start burning oil excessively after just 70,000 miles, a clear sign of worn piston rings and valve seals. Overall, while the 2.2-liter OHV engine kept GM's budget cars moving for years, its weak reliability record made it one of those engines that many drivers were happy to leave behind. 16. Alfa Romeo 2.0 Twin-Spark 16V. The Alfa Romeo 2.0 Twin-Spark 16V engine is the kind of engine that needs very careful maintenance. One of its biggest issues is the timing belt, which has to be replaced much earlier than most engines, which is usually every 30,000 to 40,000 miles instead of 60,000. So, if you miss that schedule and the belt snaps, the engine can suffer serious damage because it's an interference engine. That means the pistons and valves can hit each other, leading to a big repair bill that can easily go up to $2,000 to $3,000, and that's sometimes more than what the whole car costs. It also has a habit of burning oil faster than normal, so owners need to check and refill it often. If not, the oil level drops too low, and the engine can seize up completely. In short, the Twin Spark is great if you take care of it perfectly, but for most drivers, it turns into a money pit. 17. Fiat 1.3 Multijet First Generation, 2003 to 2009. The 17th engine on our list is the Fiat 1.3 Multijet First Generation, 2003 to 2009. It is an engine that was first praised for being small, fuel-efficient, and surprisingly capable for its size. It powered cars like the Fiat Punto, Opel Corsa, Suzuki Swift, and even some Jeep models, giving them great mileage and decent performance for daily driving. But after a few years, the 1.3 Multijet soon gained a reputation for being too delicate and high maintenance, especially for those who mostly drove short distances. One of the biggest problems came from the EGR valve and turbocharger, which easily clogged with carbon buildup. When that happens, the car starts losing power, blowing out black smoke or going into limp mode. Repairs for these issues could reach anywhere from $500 to $1,000 just to get the car running normally again. The timing chain was another trouble spot, known for stretching early and creating a rattling noise. So even though the Fiat 1.3 Multijet seemed like a dream for anyone who wanted fuel savings, it turned out to be a bit of a nightmare to maintain. For many owners, it's not the fuel costs that hurt, but the repair bills that come after. 18. Mazda 1.3 Renesis. When this engine first came out, it was something special since it is not your usual piston engine, but a rotary engine, meaning it used spinning rotors instead of moving pistons. This made it smaller, lighter, and capable of revving sky-high, giving smooth, sporty sound and fast throttle response that car lovers adored. But the excitement didn't last long once owners started driving them daily. The biggest problem was its rotor apex seals, in which tiny parts are supposed to keep compression inside the engine. When they wear out, which often happens earlier than expected, the engine starts to lose power, burn oil, or fail to start, especially when warm. Many owners had to rebuild or replace the engine before hitting 100,000 kilometers, something unheard of for most cars. Another issue is its oil consumption. The Renesis naturally burns oil by design, but many drivers didn't know this and skipped topping it up regularly. As a result, engines would run low on oil and end up damaged. So while the Mazda 1.3 Renesis is admired for its smooth power delivery and unique engineering, it's also known for its demands of constant care, regular oil checks, and proper warm-ups. 19. Mini Prince engine. The 19th engine on our list is the Mini Prince engine. When it was first introduced, the Prince engine was meant to be efficient, powerful, and fun, exactly what you'd expect from a Mini. It featured modern technology like variable valve timing and turbocharging, which gives drivers quick acceleration and that signature go-kart-like mini driving feel. But soon after, the timing chain, which stretches or wears out much earlier than expected. When this happens, you'll start hearing a rattling noise from the engine. And if ignored, it can cause serious internal damage, even total engine failure. Many Mini owners had to replace their timing chains way before 100,000 kilometers, which was both expensive and frustrating. Another major issue is oil consumption and leaks. The Prince engine tends to burn oil faster than normal, and if the owner doesn't keep checking and refilling, it can easily run low and damage the turbo or valves. So while the Mini Prince engine does deliver good power and fun driving when maintained properly, it also demands constant attention and regular maintenance. 20. 5.3-liter Ecotec 5.8. At first glance, it seems like this can be the perfect V8 because of its capability of handling heavy loads with ease. Many drivers love it because it delivers that smooth mix of power and fuel efficiency, making it one of GM's go-to engines for trucks and SUVs. However, while the 5.3-liter Ecotec 5.8 is known for its performance, it's also infamous for some serious long-term issues. The most common complaint comes from its active fuel management (AFM) system, designed to save fuel by turning off half the cylinders when full power isn't needed. Unfortunately, this system often causes excessive oil consumption and leads to valve lifter failures. Once those lifters fail, the engine starts making loud ticking noises, misfires, and eventually requires an expensive teardown to fix. So while the 5.3-liter Ecotec VIF8 delivers great torque and dependable towing strength, its hidden maintenance issues make it a financial risk in the long run. 21. VW 1.2 TSI. The Volkswagen 1.2 TSI engine was designed to give drivers a good mix of power and fuel efficiency, which made it popular in cars like the VW Polo, Golf, and Skoda Fabia. It's great with a small, modern, and turbocharged engine. But over time, many owners found out that it was far from perfect. One of the most common and serious issues is with the timing chain. In many 1.2 TSI engines, the chain tends to stretch or wear out too soon, which causes a loud rattling noise when starting the car. This issue was especially bad in the early models made between 2009 and 2014. The repair is expensive, and in some cases, replacing the whole engine ends up being the only solution. Some versions also suffer from turbocharger and fuel injector problems, causing rough idling, poor performance, and loss of power. So while the 1.2 TSI may seem like a smart and efficient choice at first, it can also be a costly mistake for many. 22. Subaru 2.0 D 2008 to 2020. The Subaru 2.0D engine was Subaru's first diesel engine, made to give good fuel mileage while keeping the brand's known reliability. At first, many drivers were excited about it because it offered strong pulling power and better efficiency. But over time, this engine also gained a reputation for being more of a problem than a success, mainly because of costly and recurring issues. One of the most common problems with this engine is crankshaft and bearing failure. Many owners noticed knocking sounds from the engine, loss of power, or even sudden breakdowns. This happens because the lower part of the engine wears out too early, which can completely damage the motor. Once it reaches that point, it often needs a full rebuild or replacement that can cost thousands of dollars. These failures were especially common in models built between 2008 and 2012, but some newer ones still had the same issue. So while yes, the Subaru 2.0D promised great efficiency, but later on it only turned out to be high maintenance and unreliable for many owners. It still runs well if taken care of properly, but the cost and trouble of keeping it in good shape made it one of Subaru's most disappointing engines. 23. GM 2.4-liter Quad 4 engine. And finally, to wrap up our list, we have the GM 2.4-liter Quad 4 engine. This is a name that many longtime car owners still remember, and not always for good reasons. When General Motors launched this engine back in the late 1980s, it was actually ahead of its time. It had 4 valves per cylinder, dual overhead cams, and strong performance for its size. For a while, it even seemed promising because it is fast, light, and fun to drive. But as years went by, the Quad 4 started showing its true colors. The engine was rough, noisy, and often shaky, which made driving feel less refined. Worse, it was notorious for head gasket failures, oil leaks, and overheating problems. Once that gasket went bad, it usually meant expensive repairs or even total engine replacement. GM tried to improve the design later on, but the damage to its reputation had already been done. And that's why it earns its place as the last engine on our list, because it is a reminder that even strong performance means nothing if it can't stand the test of time. And that wraps up our list. If there's one thing all these engines have in common, it's that power and technology don't always guarantee reliability. Some of these engines try to offer speed, efficiency, or innovation, but in real-world use, they turned into expensive lessons for many car owners. That's why doing your research before buying a car matters so much. So if you're planning your next car purchase, go for one that's not just fun to drive, but also built to last, because a truly great engine should always be dependable. We hope you find this video helpful, and if you're dealing with other issues with your car, let us know by leaving a comment below. We'll gladly cover that next here on Fix It. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming tips.